Look at that thing. Oh, it's beautiful. That is a 2022 3500 XD. Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is John, and behind me, that thing, that is my van. And today, I want to talk to you guys about the decisions that I'm considering and the things that I would change on this right now. So I suppose the first thing that we should talk about is one of the most important. So the number one thing with power for me personally is having a ton of it. I want to be able to live off grid, so to speak. I know that's kind of a corny, like prepper term. I get it. But for me personally, I love the idea of being able to not have to drive for an extended period of time to charge the van. I love the idea of having a ton of solar. I love the idea of also having a second alternator to charge the van quickly while driving. I don't know exactly how much power I need because I don't know what appliances are going to be in here. What I do know is that I want to be able to use what I do have for an extended period of time. And that means at least up on the roof having a walkable solar panel. For me, that's very important because a walkable solar panel means that I can spend more time around the van. I could spend time up there if I wanted to. I could use that space. Like, you know, there are certain vehicles where they put solar on the roof and that basically eliminates their ability to go up there and use that space to like sit and watch a sunset or just be elevated for whatever reason. You know, if I perhaps go hunting or something and I want to scout from the roof, like why would I not want to be able to do that? Why would I eliminate that from my abilities to do that? And then I have to have a big battery bank to store it in. And then the second alternator is good for just keeping things topped off while I'm driving, etc. Like it's sort of in my mind redundancy, and I think that's important. There's also this thought that Storyteller Overland has where they say that you don't need solar because they have a Volta system. It's actually mounted like over here in their vans. But they say that just with a second alternator, you can idle the van and charge it up really, really fast. The point is having a big battery bank and redundant systems for me is important. And then I also have to decide where all the outlets go and what appliances I want in here. You know, do I want to be able to wash dishes? Like some people, I've seen a dishwasher in something. I don't think that's something I would want, but I've seen that. I've seen I think it's Vitro Frigo or Figo. I don't know. It's a drawer unit for a fridge freezer unit. That's cool. Right? That's great. It's all circled around what the power system is. The next major decision circles around what I currently have right here. This is an air mattress, twin air mattress. Got it on Amazon. It works for right now. Like there's a path through there. It's great. The ideal solution is somewhere typically in the rear of the van, either this way. You know, people, they call this north to south, east to west. Some folks sleep this way on a platform bed. Some folks sleep this way. They get flares. They bump out the sides. You know, they'll sleep that way. Fixed bed. I've seen bunks on this side or that side. I've seen them like Murphy beds fold down from this side or whatever. It doesn't matter. They fold down and then they traverse across so that you can keep it up and leave this space open. I've also seen one of the coolest solutions is actually in a Winnebago Revel, and they use a elevator bed. And it literally just has straps that wind up and the bed moves upward, and then you can get under it into what is typically called the garage area underneath. And that is a decision that I just can't land on anything just yet. I haven't been able to figure that out. I like the platform bed. What I don't like is not being able to access this space and having that openness. I love being open. I also, my original thought process was, oh, I'll just get a bunk. And then somebody messed me up like, well, what if you ever want to get rid of your van in the future? Because that's a total reasonable thing to consider. The resale value for something with a permanent one-person setup as opposed to a two-person setup in the future would likely hinder me in selling the van. And that's kind of frustrating that's very true. That is a very, very true thing. So that is another decision that I have to make, is how I want the bed here. The mega flare that goes on this side, sort of in the middle here, that is just being released from flare space. And I think I'm going to get that regardless, the flares, either way, just to open up the space in here a little bit. But that's a major decision, and I don't know. I would love to hear suggestions on what's the most efficient. How often, if you're a van person, how often are you, using this garage space? I would love to be able to pull a e-bike or a dirt bike or something. I don't have a dirt bike or an e-bike, but I would love the ability to do that. A kayak or something. Like, that'd be rad to be able to use that space and not be hindered by a fixed bed. I see so many systems where right here, there's just a wall, and that means your garage space is just permanently capped off from being able to put something long down the center of the van. I mean, I have a 170. This is huge. Look at this. This is absolutely massive. That's a whole twin mattress in front of the wheel wells. I mean, come on. This thing is massive. So that flexibility of being able to put something gigantic in here and still have a cool van setup, an adventure van setup, is pretty important. So the next thing you have to consider when you're building out something like this is water. It's essential to human life. So part of dealing with that and then being off grid, so you've got a ton of power, but you also want to be able to carry a lot of water, at least in my mind. You want to be able to carry a ton of water. So how do you do that? How do you carry massive amounts of water in a vehicle? And not only that, but how do you do it for 4 seasons? Me in particular, I would love to be able to go camp or spend time. I say camp, but I want to be able to go anywhere in North America with this vehicle and be okay. I would love to not have to worry about stuff freezing. I mean, yes, when it gets sub-zero, you start to worry about that no matter what, but the idea is I would love to be able to do that. So as part of deciding the whole water shenanigans, one of the major ways that people handle water is they do a tank that goes and straddles the wheel well. However, this is a dually. Nobody, at least that I've found, makes something that fits over these gigantic wheel wells. There's 2 wheels and tires here on both sides as opposed to a single, which would be much thinner. So I don't know exactly where I'm going to store the water. It may be in a tank that's up here and just square. And I've also seen stuff that is... I've also seen tanks that go up underneath here, like up under there. It's kind of difficult to show with this camera setup, but they'll keep tanks here. They'll replace the spare tire. And while that's cool and works in warm climates, something like that is not a great idea when you're talking about sub-zero, northern edge of the country winters. Like, I would love to be able to see winter in Montana, and keeping water outside here, that's guaranteed, that's gonna freeze. Now, I've seen companies that do heated blankets around them to keep them warm. That's cool. I think that's a great idea. However, I have no idea how to implement that on this particular setup. And then you have to think, okay, am I going to plumb a sink? Am I going to plumb a shower? Do I want that in this van? And for me, I want a shower. And that kind of brings us into our next topic. And what you have to decide is, how do you want to clean yourself? Hopefully you're not a disgusting mess all the time, but how you want to clean yourself while you're on the road. Also, how you want to use the potty. Some people will do public bathrooms. I mean, that's obviously something I have to do until I get this sorted out. But you also have to consider, do I want a fixed shower? Like, guys they'll put a fixed shower, just a huge shower stall. And for me personally, I think that's a huge mistake. I like how Storyteller Overland does it, in that their shower goes away. I think the quote I heard on a recent video where they were explaining things was, you take up 30% of the van for something you do 1% of the time in the van. That's not smart, in my opinion. So I've seen shower basins that are like folded. They can become a seat. They become like the toilet's there, and you take the toilet out, yada, 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 hang the curtain from the roof. Stuff like that really entices me, because if I want to take a shower, it's not going to be like it's probably not an everyday thing while I'm traveling. And who knows? I don't know. You want to conserve water. And you don't, especially when it's cooler out, you're not like drenched in sweat every day. Obviously when it's hot like this, sure. But that is something to consider. How do you want to bathe yourself? How do you want to go to the bathroom? Do you want to have a composting toilet? There's like these vacuum toilets. There's incinerating toilets. I don't know. I would love to be able to run the incinerating toilet. They use an enormous amount of power, and I'm not sure that that's the best solution. I also love the idea of minimal cleanup, because with some, like I think it's Nature's Head that you'll see in like Kara and Nate videos, that channel, that's great, but you have to empty the piss bottle and then also the dookie bin. Like, you've got to do that. You've got to maintain these things, and that's all well and good. I just don't know that that's right for me. And once you've got the power, water, hygiene, and bed position all figured out, I remembered them, huh? Yeah. Once you've got that figured out, then you have to figure out where you're going to keep all your crap. Right now, this is, this is a minimal setup. I keep things like on the floor because I don't have places to hang them. I'm working on maybe some magnetic hooks. That would be cool, right? Just like put a hook there and hang stuff. That'd be great. However, when this is built out, you have to assume that you're going to have a bunch of stuff to carry, whether it's shoes, clothing, food, gear that you might need while you're out doing whatever you're doing. Do you want to have recovery gear if you have a big like off-road wagon? Do you want to be able to pull yourself out of a ditch or somebody else out of a ditch? Do you want to keep shovels and cooking equipment for indoor and outdoor? The list goes on and on and on and on. Stuff that you would keep in a vehicle, but then also basically stuff that you would keep in a home as well. Like, you have to have storage for all of that crap. Luckily, I have a gigantic van. I don't remember, I'll put on screen the distance from about here to the end of the van. It's substantial. So I've got a lot of room to work with here. I've seen a lot of iterations. Generally speaking, there is some kind of storage here, and maybe a seating area here, maybe a galley here, a kitchen area here. Sometimes it's here. I mean, the options. So then there's typically cabinets here, or both up top there. Usually a lot of people do showers right here, and I do not like blocking the view out the back of the van. I like the windows in the back. I like to be able to see out the back of the vehicle. Is that weird? I think it's weird that people don't want to see out of the back of their van. I think that's strange, but you've got to have storage for all that stuff. There's exterior solutions. You can keep stuff up on the roof that you're not going to use a ton. There's a lot of those options, and that's one of the major decisions as you're kind of fleshing out one of these builds. You have to figure all that stuff out, and it's not easy. It's just not easy. However, I think we're getting there. I'm starting to see what I don't like. Shout out to my buddy Alex Bosco, who once told us that it's easy to figure out what you don't like. It is difficult to figure out what you do like. Thank you for that gem of wisdom, Alex, because that is very, very true, especially in a scenario like this. So that's it, guys. That's my major decision points, and I would love to hear from you on what you think I should be doing. I would love to get some input, stuff that you've seen that works really, really well. I would love to see that. I would absolutely love to see that. And this is all without considering suspension and off-road gear and tires and wheels and blah, 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 bumpers and you name it. There's all kinds of exterior stuff to consider as well. So, like I said, I would love to hear from you guys. I would love to communicate with you back and forth. Of course, if you enjoyed this video and you think it was at all useful, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, go ahead and get subscribed. Of course, click the links down in the video description. They're very, very helpful. Buy yourself a cup of coffee from Blackout. They make some incredible stuff, fresh roasted small batch. You might like it, especially if you are into good quality stuff. And that's it. We'll see you next time. Thank you all for watching.